Hey, what's up guys? This is Phil here again with oinkartltd.com, and I'm just doing a follow-up video now to test out and show you the 3 products that I just purchased a few weeks ago, or like 2 weeks ago to be exact. I purchased the first thing I purchased was one of the 2-ounce Junobo squeeze mops that you see here. Now the color I chose, as I unscrew the cap, was actually the Atlantic blue. Now what I said in my last video, I said that they gave me an extra nib. I actually had to pay for an extra nib, because I know that these nibs, if you are writing on rough surfaces, they don't hold up as well as they should. Therefore, I did pay for an extra nib, and I can't remember how much it was off the top of my head, but you can buy extra ones if you need them. Alright? So, the first thing I had received was the Atlantic blue Junobo squeeze mop in the 2-ounce size. Now this was only $4.95, and now let me show you what I wrote with it. Now this is what I wrote with it right here. It actually says Junobo, as you can see, and I actually tried mimicking how it says it on the actual bottle itself. So that's how it looks on the bottle, with the drips. And then that's the one I did right there. Now once again, when you're using the Junobo mops, like I mentioned in the last video, if you want clean, consistent, solid lines, then you are going to have to squeeze the mop. If you just write with the mop without squeezing it, then you are going to get streaky lines. It is paint, it's not ink. Therefore, you do have to squeeze the mop so the paint comes to the surface of the nib and gets applied to whatever you're writing on. So you see here, I was squeezing with it, and I just didn't squeeze hard enough to get the drips out of it, but you can still get the point. The lines are solid, and I was going over ink and paint and everything that was underneath it. So I would recommend these. They are cheap. They're only $4.95 a piece. You can buy the full bottles of paint if you want to. It comes in 8 different colors. And it's a very easy to squeeze mop, as you see here. It's super easy to squeeze. So when you're writing with it, you definitely have enough control over it to get as many drips or as little drips as you want out of it. Alright, so once again, that's the Junobo 2-ounce squeeze mop. Alright, now the second thing I received was the Krink K-60 squeeze mop that you see here. A lot smaller than the Junobo, although wider. So it is smaller in height, although it is a lot wider. Now, with the Krinks, I'm holding the K-60 here. These are filled, the K-60s are filled, the permanent opaque ink. Although it looks like paint, like I mentioned in my last video, it's not paint. Okay, now I'm just going to write with it and show you guys how this works. Once again, it's the Krink K-60. So here you see it again, the Krink K-60 in the silver, the opaque ink, and then this is what I just wrote with it. It says Krink. Now, I was squeezing this when I was writing with it. So if I can show you the drips here. You can see the drips coming down. It goes on very opaque, very solid, and you don't have to squeeze it to get drips if you don't want to. You can just write with it and it'll still give you consistent, solid lines on whatever you're writing on. So once again, I'm just showing you here. So that was written with the Krink K-60 Silver Squeeze Mop, available at oinkartltd.com for the lowest price I've ever seen of $8.25 plus tax. Okay, and this is the last thing that I purchased from oinkartltd.com. It's the Krink K-63 green dye-based squeeze mop. So you see it here. Now the K-63s are a lot different than the K-60s. The K-60s have the permanent opaque ink within them, which actually pretty closely resembles paint, although it isn't. With the Krink K-63 that you're looking at right now, this is actually dye-based ink. So it's going to be more like what comes out of your markers, and it's going to be more of the ink substance that you can purchase from oinkartltd.com as opposed to the thick opaque ink that you'll find in the other K-60 model. Okay, so now I'm just going to write with this one and show you how it works. Alright guys, so like I said, here we have it. The Krink K-63 green dye-based squeeze mop, available at oinkartltd.com for $8.25 plus tax. And this is what I just wrote with it to show you guys how well it writes, how well it drips, and how much it's worth the money you're paying for it. Alright guys, so there you have it. I just wrote with the Krink K-63 green dye-based squeeze mop that I bought from oinkartltd.com. And just to show you the drips, it's just a few drips coming down, reason being I didn't squeeze it. And you don't have to unless that's the look you're going for. But I just wanted to show you that it can have drips, and it can also produce clean, crisp, readable lines as well. So I just reviewed the Junobo 2-ounce squeeze mop in the color Atlantic Blue, the Krink K-60 squeeze mop in the color Silver, and then the Krink K-63 squeeze mop in the color Green. If you have any questions, if you want to buy them, I would definitely recommend going to oinkartltd.com.